Ah, yes, indeed. I shall always love you. I'm not so sure if that's actually a fact, but it sure fits when the words Isleys come to mind. So it's your Pratt Pack. I've made it down here with the Bricker family. Greg is here. His lovely bride, Katie. Happy birthday. Recently celebrating that. Janice and her significant other, Butch. We are here to talk about the legacy of this incredible company. So let me start, and then you can all jump in. So here's what happens. So many years ago, I got called into work to do the midnight shift at KDK. And just like now, I was going on very little sleep. And I'm literally driving to work in my pajamas. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do for 5 hours on the radio? And I saw this billboard that said, I remember Isleys. So I get on the air. Now, Janice, this is a fact. Butch, Greg, listen. And I said at 12:05 after CBS Radio News, does anybody remember Isleys? All 9 lines lit up. They stayed lit until 5 in the morning. It got so intense that I wanted to do franchises again. People were calling the Diley family, who owned the name at the time, and Jay Diley called me and said, Rob, what a show. It was fantastic, but we can't do that because it's so hard to find the people that used to make these Isleys work, like the Brickers family. So one step further, the guy who was doing the morning show at the time, John Signer, he came from a bit of a grocery background. His father worked in produce at Atlantic and Pacific, A&P, 8 o'clock coffee. So I, in turn, become the next person in line to be the Isley spokesperson when John retired. And it gets even more intense. So Joe Dentisi, who recently passed, the owner-operator, now the 3rd generation, kind of like this young man, the 4th, they own the Coons Markets. So we're always selling Isley's product, chip, chopped ham, barbecue sauce. Just recently over the holidays did the Boulevard Coffee ad, which was their coffee that they had their signature brand back in the day. So I have so many connections to this brand. Even we did Isley's toy train cars at one time. So my grandmother worked at the Isleys in Beaver Falls. I love it. But my love affair with Brickers began many years ago when I worked at the radio station down the street. And she will attest to this. Her sister remembered it. I would get a little pint of chocolate milk and a 6-pack of peanut butter crackers every night when I would get off the air at 10 o'clock. And it gave me joy going home. So all of these memories, I always think about this place. Every time I'm in East Liverpool, I drive by it just to look in the windows. But I see this story that I did not know, and I couldn't believe it. Brian Butko, dear friend connected with the Heinz History Center, comes down here because of the news that the family is going to exit stage left, and they're going to be taken over by Chef Ray. So it's going to be business as usual. But tomorrow, Sunday, January 28th, is their last day as proprietor. So I said, I got to get down here. Despite lack of sleep, what have you, early wake up tomorrow, I want to get down here. And he was so gracious to let me do this. So what happens, the story that I didn't know, 1920, correct me if I'm wrong, so you have Mr. Bricker, who marries Josephine Isley. Mr. Bricker's brother Lee, 10 years later, opens an Isley store here. Isley's that large dairy chain, maybe at one time the largest ever, especially in the tri-state. They have a store here. And all those years I was coming in here, and I knew it was an Isley's, but talking to Janice, probably was the first in this region. So that's where we are. We're all caught up. But Janice, I'm going to begin with you. Hey, everybody turns the page. We all get to that stage. You guys have given it a great 94-year run. This is kind of sad in a way, isn't it?
Very.
So get in closer so we can hear her. Tell me just some things about this company and this story and your family and all the joy that this place has brought so many people.
We all grew up here, all my sisters and I. And we have a lot of funny stories and a lot of hard stories.
We got time, go ahead.
Okay. We would come on Saturday mornings, we would walk up from church, and they called me the little mother, so I would bring them all from 3rd Street up here. We would eat our lunch, and then all of us had a job to do. So
I know, it's tough. Jump in here, young man. Obviously the former mayor of this town. Let me tell you, I've interviewed all politicians from all walks of life at every level. And when I met him years ago, before he started that term at Mimi Tambellini's house, I knew he was the real deal. And let me just say this, from all the things that are happening in this town right now, Chef Ray's beautiful establishment at the Diamond there, you got the winery coming in across the street, and so many other things, manufacturing and jobs. and they will carry on, but you were the young man in a short time that got the ball rolling. So you have a lot to be proud of. Thank you for everything you did for my beloved East Liverpool. And he's still handling financial stuff, so I got a few things for you after we're done. But talk about what this place meant to you growing up as a kid, and how much time and love and energy, and how it was a gathering place.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up working with my grandparents and uncles, so yeah, it was always fun to be a part of that. So
the food, though, what amazes me, Janice, all these years, it's consistent. And one of the things that Jay Guiley said to me, the reason they couldn't open the individual stores again, because the skyscraper cone wouldn't be the same as it was down the street. This brand was so big at one time, in Ambridge alone, there were multiple locations. My grandmother worked at the one in Beaver Falls, and she lived across the 10th Street Bridge in New Brighton, and this is the honest to goodness truth. My 5 sisters and I, mother, would walk across that bridge. We would go in there like at 10, 10:30 at night. She'd lift us up, put us on the stools, and she would make us skyscraper cones, and the place was packed. I mean, packed. And here's the other thing about this story that I didn't realize, and it became Brickers in 1968. But they were open here at 6 in the morning till 2 in the morning the next day. Well, not many people working in the pottery industry here at one time.
The potteries kept us going. It's huge. I can remember I would be here till 1 or 2 a.m. as a high school student, just from football games or pottery workers, whatever. And we were busy, very busy.
Well, that was back in the 40s.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
I didn't say that. He said something, Butch over here, her significant other, great guy, just had a chance to shake his hand and spend a little time with him. I want some of that coffee before I leave. But you said you have a woman here who's been making pies for how long?
36 years.
36 years? Who is that woman? Give us some credit.
Joyce, yeah. Joyce has been there. There's a lot of long timers here. Dolores still will pop in every now and then. I think Dolores was 37 years. We have Tim Gregg, he's still here working for us. I think he just told me 36 years, 35 years, something like that. And we had Velma. We unfortunately lost Velma last year, but she was the same, you know.
Beulah, she just
Beulah, well, we just saw Beulah popped in today, and so we probably missing somebody, but we had a lot of long timers with us.
So, from what I also understand, because I grew up in New Brighton, where there was once an Isley's, that became a Brickers. And I never could figure out all those years, how did we get a Brickers too? So the Brickers name is as synonymous as the Isley's name, really starting Isley's, right?
Right. Yeah, started with my grandfather. His brother married an Isley girl, and so that's how that whole thing started. She talked him into starting a business here in East Liverpool because at that time the potteries were huge, and she felt this would be a good place to start a business, and we started it.
I don't know, I'm sure you realize this, but you know, I love the farming industry, agriculture. And from Steve Sheets, who's a friend, his family, Altoona, they had a dairy farm. And what happened to many of them, whether it's Stop and Go, the Taylor family, Auto Milk, we could go on, they wanted to have a place to sell their milk. So I'm sure it was the same with this family as well. So they get the brick and mortar stores, and that's what they do. And believe it or not, now you've got Sheets with hundreds of stores. They're going into Michigan, they're putting a new one in Vanport. So it works. So what they did back then is really the blueprint for what we see today, right?
Right. Small business.
So how have you guys, and you're not going out of business because there's no business, you just don't, you got things to do. And I get it. My son and daughter would do the same thing. I get it. But, and Chef Ray, this is what he was born to do, so it's a win-win. It just happened to be the right fit. But how have you been able to do this long?
I think with our homemade pies, all of our homemade products, homemade pies, homemade cookies, potato salad, ham salad, all those were staples as I grew up. We sold a lot. And I think that's the homemade products, people want that because a lot of people don't bake anymore.
Well, last year we implemented a point of sale system so you can track what you sell, how much you sell. We sold, I think it was over 4,500 pounds of potato salad last year. It was a lot of coconut cream pies and
Last year.
yeah. I think
Pretty
on
good.
Thanksgiving we sold
Pumpkin pie.
like 600 pies. So it's I mean that's pretty much that, just homemade food, and you don't find that too often anymore.
Listen, it's like a lost love.
It is.
So what I do is when I'm lonely and I have a couple of hours, I'll grab a coffee. I actually came down last night. I just wanted to get out of Beaver County for a little bit. And I have looked in this window for years. And I noticed when the construction started to happen in this old Army-Navy store, I'm like calling Frank Dawson and everybody like, what's going on? What's going on? So I'm so happy I get a chance to be in here. So what made you decide to do this? This is such a natural idea, a little gathering room, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can see it just had good bones. This is the original tin ceiling that we were able to save, and exposed brick turned out pretty good. So just a small, like you said, gathering area. And it's called the den because that's where my grandparents spent 90% of their time at home. So they were always in their den. So, but yeah, it's just my family's grown, my other business has grown, and to be a restaurateur, you got to be here every day, all day, and I just don't have time to do it. So I'm happy that Chef Ray and his family and his daughter I think we're in good hands now.
Listen, I've done one thing down there for him, and these are all I work for food. I've done close to 100,000 videos since 2009, 10, since I got out of TV, and I'll keep doing it forever because I just love promoting. I said to Ray, you don't need me. That place is packed. Did you think that was going to work like it's worked down there?
Yeah,
I'm in Pittsburgh. I was seeing that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm really happy. That deal was dead probably 4 or 5 times, but I pretty much got on my hands and knees. Ray has just a great reputation in our area, and I'll leave my business office at 5 or 6 o'clock at night now, and why are all these cars down here? And they're at Chef Ray's, so they did a phenomenal job. That's to me that's a huge win. Just the city came together with the developer, with the business owner, and made that happen. So there's facade grants that happened, and we got so many good property owners downtown that are investing in their property and doing the things they need to do.
I do miss the radio station being here. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I miss the review not being here, but there are so many good things that are here. The Museum of Ceramics, obviously some new businesses, some of the stuff we just mentioned. But through it all, brickers, the foundation, the mortar. It really has been a labor of love.
It has been, really.
I mean, think about, you're talking about parents and grandparents. You know as well as I do, to have a business, you got to live it.
You did.
Yeah.
So I'm
You
sure.
did.
Well, it's like even me. I went a 20-year stretch without a day off between here and my television and radio. I actually spent more time on the radio and on television than I did in the real world, because you love what you do. And every time I got something to eat here, and I'm not just saying this, from times that Digger and I would be here and with other people from the valley or from downtown Liverpool, wherever they were from, the food was always good. You can still get hot green beans and mashed potatoes and ham off the bone. You just can't walk in off the street and get that anywhere anymore. And a slice of homemade pie. And good coffee. So if you put a cot in here, tell Ray I could just move in and pay him rent. I mean, this would be like home cooking every day. But all the pictures of all the children and the people, when you look at Harold and the kids and you being younger and grandparents that are no longer here, what goes through your mind, James?
Oh, a lot of stories. My sisters and I, we worked here from the time that we were really young. We didn't always have a choice, how that goes. But you know what? It was a great lesson of life that we learned so much. But my sister and I were talking about, we would stand on milk crates in the kitchen with my grandmother and my mom, and we would roll pies out. Or in those days, we would go into the kitchen and Dad would have us make our own fruit punch. That was a big thing. You might remember that.
I do.
Eisen's fruit punch, and we saw a lot of it. So we would stand on milk crate and do that, or a lot of making ham salad, potato salad. But you know what? We had fun. My sister, Lisa, the one you remember, she was a character.
And by the way, Lisa, I only really came in here to see you. She was pretty special. She was. She was a lot of joy.
I have to tell you a funny story. She said that when they knew that you worked at night, they would call the station and they would request a song, and you'd play it for them, and you'd say, "This one is for all the girls at Brickers."
That was good for me. That was big for me. I mean, because somebody was out there actually listening, and they were. They were. And sometimes they would come down and like knock on the glass. Not your sister, although I wanted her to, but she didn't. But they'd knock on the glass, and they, you know, they'd call me from a payphone. We'd play their song, and it was. And listen, the late owner of WOHIWELA, he really was a mentor to me, Frank Manano. And I still, to this day, every Thanksgiving, I come down and visit his grave at Riverview. He changed my life. And getting to know the people in this town and to see a young person like him in the vision, it's just, it's exciting.
It is exciting.
And as tough as it is, honestly, and I'm not just saying this because I have a lot of respect for Ray, but you couldn't have found a better person to pass the baton to, right?
Yeah, we're pretty happy about that.
So what do you think, Mayor, I can still call you that. So where do you think this is all going, this whole business of what you do here? And you are really one of the last standing. I would love to have something like this where I live. There are a few close, but namely some major corporations got their name up on the sign. You don't have locally owned. You can go to a Coons Market. We've got 8 great delis, and we sell all the Isley's products, to the chip chopped ham, the barbecue sauce, the Swiss cheese, the ice cream, all of it. But how do you see this place evolve moving forward?
I think I have full faith in Ray. He'll do a great job, and I'm sure, you know, and Ray's been a restaurateur for many years or decades, so he knows what he's doing. He's going to be here every day and get this place in shape. So
here's what excites me: you got the Newcastle School of Trades. You still have Kent State. There's going to be a lot of walk-up traffic here, and there's more and more businesses coming to East Liverpool. And there's going to be people living in East Liverpool, the city of East Liverpool. It might not happen overnight, but I see a lot of residential property. So people are always going to look for a place to sit and eat. And that's what's so great about this place. You've got a booth. You can actually get a tray, go on down the line, pick what you want, pay, and sit down. I saw a young family with their young kids here waiting to go be seated. On a Saturday night, as we go to tape here at 7 o'clock, you don't see that anymore.
Well, so before I left office, we got grants to save the Thompson building at the corner. So there's
I heard about that.
A huge influx of workers downtown, and that's just, you know, even better for Ray and his businesses. And I mean, we've had a lot of other eateries kind of pop up over the past couple of years too, so they'll easily, you know, help support those places.
I just want to share a couple more minutes, and I'm going to let you go. But again, what joy you have brought this community. I don't think you'll ever even come close to understanding. I can have them lined up all the way through the Diamond and 5th and 6th Street, and one after another would say the exact same thing. Everybody has a memory about this place. And no matter where you were, as long as the lights were on here, it was like somebody was home.
Well, we've developed a lot of friendship with customers over the years. I mean, some of them are like family because their parents came in, the children came in, and just went on down the line. So we got to know all of them really well.
Well, there's a lot of customers that you'll see, you know, they park their car and you start making their order because you know exactly what they're, the late Dr. Bob Barker, you get 6 pineapple cookies and a third of a pound of turkey, so you'd have it ready for them. And, you know, we have a lot of customers still like that today, that you know exactly what their order is going to be and get working on it.
You ever think about how many lights are on in kitchens throughout East Liverpool and Chester? Let's not forget Chester, Northern Cumberland, Midland, Industry, Calcutta, Columbiana, Latonia, Wellsville, that have been sitting at their kitchen table or their dining room table at night eating food that they brought from this place. From this home to that home. I mean, think about all the families you fed, Janice, through the years.
They, Ray said yesterday, he said, when he said he was going to close this place, first.
Get in closer there, please, so you can
Thank
you.
He and his daughter looked on the Facebook page and saw the hundreds of comments. They were sad. How can this happen, you know? And he said, you know, we got to do this.
Well, that's why the mayor jumped in there real quick, and because I was just one of those people. I'm like, oh, they're going to leave. I told Bush when I came in, I said, everybody I love leaves me. I said, look, they're going to leave me too. But he quickly jumped in, and honestly, I've been in business a long time and been around business. It's what I do. From some of the most iconic names, Iron City, Isley's, one right after the other. I don't think being a financial planner, I don't think you could have planned this any better. I mean, when you look what's happening in Liverpool, and I'm telling you, I drove by Chef Ray's Blue Diamond Bar and Grill earlier tonight and last night, and I'm telling you right now, there is no place in this region that has that kind of crowd on a Saturday night. All the TVs are going, all the tables are filled. So you're bringing people to Liverpool, and there's not a better person to keep the tradition alive. Why? He knows food, and that Yanni family connected to, they know food, and they know what this place is all about.
Well, I think he knows our people. He knows, you know, what they need and want, and the prices are great. So, and that's, I mean, when's the last time you drove through downtown East Liverpool on a January Saturday night? And that's, I parked down the block because there's no parking. I mean, that's a great problem to have. So.
As I turned on West Street, 6th Street, 6th Street, I went, you gotta be kidding me. I had to like go all the way down to the end of the block, but it's a good thing. But I just see life and food and gathering and a place to go and a warm meal on a winter night. In the summertime, the picnics that people plan and stuff. Of all the things that you prepared, now you know what you could do? Because Isley's has a cookbook.
We talked about that.
Listen, you could do a Bricker's
We
cookbook.
talked about that.
We'll partner up with Coons Market, and it'll be a runaway hit. Of all the things that's your signature, give me just a couple that people just have to have that have that Bricker's name associated to it.
I think, for one, coconut cream pies, which my mother, she tweaked the recipe, it was her recipe. And whenever my sister and I would do caterings, they would gravitate towards the coconut cream pie. They would grab that before anything else. Coconut cream pie, lemon meringue pies, and the cookies. Potato salad. I can't name one because those are the top. Potato salad is probably the main salad.
Listen how much I love this place. You know, Pearl, obviously, from O's. Sure. So I'm in one of my favorite places, the Wooden Nickel, Burt's, up in Beaver. My friend Dave Sebastian owns it. Late brother Alex had the Wooden Angel. So I'm sitting in a booth one night. And all of a sudden, Pearl comes in, and she sits down next to me, and she bangs against me with her shoulder, and we're sitting there. And I'm looking for some more sage advice, and she picks up some silverware and a saucer, and she says to me, you know what's wrong with this world? And I said, what? She goes, nobody uses this stuff anymore. Nobody sits. Everything's throwaway, plastic, paper. This was like 15 years ago. I never forgot it. I drive by our house many times and say, Pearl, I love you. Thank you for that advice. But it's true.
It is true.
But I saw this wonderful young family, mother, daughter, grandkids, in here waiting for me to come in here to get to this back room. And I was just looking at the joy these kids had, sliding their tray with their green beans and mashed potatoes, and the women behind the counter. I mean, it's a slice of America. It's Norman Rockwell. And the thing that Digger Dawson writes about, what this community is about, what the Alumni Association is about, and it's like that one lost love that never really leaves you. And really, even though it's changing ownership, I actually think for this place to go to the next stratosphere, it's got to be Chef Ray.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? Do you ever eat any of this stuff? You're so skinny.
Not much.
What did you like about it? Because I know it was challenging, and I know this. It sounds so romantic and it's joyful, but there's a lot of work that goes into this. Mm-hmm. Just try standing on your feet for 8 hours, and I get that. But what are you going to miss about it? What did you really like? When did it put a smile on your face?
I mean, really just waiting on the customers, and they would share their memories. I mean, you know, the nostalgia factor is certainly still here. They would always, you know, it's kind of to remember when, and their, you know, what they love about this place, and their stories about our family.
You know, it's funny, when you go to Heinz History Center, and Andy Masick, what a joy he is. We do these things on KDK called the Time Capsule, Monday through Friday. He takes us through all these journeys. We just did one for the Primanti brothers, and I know those folks going way back, and that started in the Strip. And what's funny, how people connect things. I'm talking to my producer today before we went on the air this morning. I said, I can't wait, I'm going to go down to East Liverpool and I do one of these videos. He said, Rob, you need to get some rest. I said, when I'm dead, I'll rest. I said, I'm going down there tonight. And I started telling him your story. He said, oh yeah, just like the Primanti brothers in the Strip. But if you think about it, they were there for the truck drivers. And they came up with all these concoctions, the coleslaw, the fries, so they could have it all in one and be down the road. But you think of the city of Hills and Kilns, this place, 180 plus potteries, and Hall China, of course, and Homer Laughlin, those shift workers, go, go, go. So they were in here before and after. At the height of this place, when you were a kid, Were they like lined up out the door?
Oh, there were times that they were lined up out the door, yes. Many times. And this isn't with pottery workers, but on Friday nights after football games, packed. Saturdays we were packed all day Saturday evening. Sunday after church, a lot of people were in here. They would get their meal and then they get their baked ham and their homemade treats, and we were really busy. A lot of people downtown those days. But I think Greg's bringing that back.
Really? Ray's, he doesn't like the publicity. He likes to kind of stay below the radar. He just likes to cook and this and that, whatever. And Nick Yanni, who's down there, the Yanni name, it's just so nice to see this town. Let me just tell you how great and busy this town was at one time, even before you were here, young man. When we had the radio station here, you ask any of the guys, Ron Offenbach, Bob Burbick, Mike Smith, Jay Michaels, all these guys that sold, literally they never had to leave town. They'd go to the Elite Diner for breakfast, grab a sandwich here, and walk up and down the street and make sales all day long. Because there were so many businesses. But as I was driving around trying to find a place to park tonight, a lot of storefronts are filling up in East Liverpool again. I know. He should listen. Don't get me started. I was thinking Congress. You know, I got.
Other people were.
You knew the name Connor Lamb.
Yeah.
So I see Connor Lamb at the AAA East Central. By the way, the greatest AAA location right here in East Liverpool. Love those folks. I've known them for years, and I've been doing that talking travel show for 3 decades on KDK. Love AAA. But honestly, I just believe that there's so much good happening in this community right now. There is no way that this place isn't going to just continue to thrive for generations to come. I really believe that. You got to believe that. But Connor Lamb, so I see Connor Lamb, and I'm thinking of this young guy. I'm thinking, boy, he's the face of the Democratic Party. I've been telling my audience, we need more young voices in politics so young people can gravitate. He was so refreshing. And I'm sure Bobby's going to be a great mayor, and I'm excited about all of that, and I'll help him any way I can. But he just really cared. So my last question is, what made you run for the office of mayor? And listen, I've been around a long time. I covered commissioner meetings in Beaver County. Being a politician in a small town is more difficult than being a politician in Washington. Why did you want to do that?
I just think we have potential here, and I think we're starting to realize that bringing the right people to the table and getting the right investors, and just going after grants. We got with the grant we got just yesterday that brought our total to like $54 million in grants in 4 years. So East End is going to get a huge facelift here in the next couple of years. The Thompson Building's being saved, and a lot of it's just bringing people back to town. And that's Chef Ray's a prime example of, we went back and forth and finally got him here. And I mean, he's helped us. He's going to help the winery and vice versa. It's just getting people back here. And I walk to and from work sometimes, and the perception about the city is not reality. It's safe, and I've never had any troubles or worries. And that's what people thought. I was crazy in starting my own financial business 6 years ago. I'm managing over $50 million now, and things are great. So there's opportunity here, and just try to show people that.
So I'll be 67 in a couple of days, a couple of hours as a matter of fact. And you realize 30 years ago, I was having conversations like this with Margaret Locke about why Liverpool is so special. Tim Brooks, the Historical Society, the Thompson House. A young person like him gets it. It gives me hope that, there'll be people here 30 years from now. And maybe one day my children will end up here and say, this is the place that my dad talked about all the time. As you say goodnight, what do you want to say to all these customers who've been at your side? Get in tight on this, because I don't want them to miss one single minute of it. Go ahead.
I'd like to see you cry.
Come on.
I would just like to thank them for all the years. We're really blessed to have had them. And I'll probably cry.
You're allowed to cry. How about you, young man? Go ahead.
I would just echo that. I mean, it was a tough decision, but I think it was the right one. And we've had incredible customers and community support and the staff, employees. So
listen, I love you both, and I do. So just handle it. All right, look, spin around real slow, and I want you to stand up and get behind our photographer and talk about these pictures as she goes down. And make sure you stay close to her so they can hear you. Go right ahead. Start from the very beginning and go down.
This is my Uncle Bill. This is my Grandpa Bricker. This is when, we believe this is when the store began, 1930. I think this was my great-grandmother, Stiefel. This is my grandmother, my Grandma Bricker. My Uncle Bill Bricker.
Oh, there are Isleys in the bunch here. They're all Brickers.
They're all Brickers.
I love it.
Bill Bricker, my uncle, my dad, Harold Bricker.
The legend.
Yep. My sisters and I, who all worked in here our entire life. This is me, my sister Lisa, Sarah, and Ann. Dad. This, 53rd anniversary. My mom is in here. I don't know. My mom, my dad, my sister Sarah. And all the I'm not in that one.
Okay, stay on this for 1 second.
Okay.
Joe Dentisi, the late great Joe Dentisi at Coons Market, and his daughter Jody and Frank, Patrice, Joey, they want me to do this. Look at the prices.
Yes, look at the prices.
$1.39, ice cream, buy one, get one, half price, regular $2.59, and you gotta have Snyder's potato chips for 8-ounce bag, 89 cents, cottage cheese, 24 cents, and here it is, home baked ham, a pound, $1.99, but the legendary, buy a pound of chip chopped ham and get an 8-pack of buns absolutely free at Brickers. And while you're there, pick up a gallon of milk for $1.69. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Same picture of my sisters and I. This is my mother.
Aww.
And I don't know what she's preparing there, but she prepared many, many, many pies and cookies. And that was our old board of our menu. This is my grandmother, Grandma Bricker. This is my grandmother Bricker and my grandpa Bricker. And
over here?
Yes, I'm not sure what happened.
That's a Packers. That's like 1939,
yeah, I think. I'm not sure about that. I mean, that's our store, but I don't know what was going on in that picture.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody was probably waiting for some chopped ham.
Chopped ham.
Okay.
Klondikes. This is my grandfather Bricker, my grandma Bricker, I think Grandma Stiefel. We believe that these pictures were probably the grand opening.
No, 1930.
1930.
Okay, now, to all of you, thank you very much. And I'll tell you what I want you to do. Very slowly, just turn that camera around and put it on me. This way, by myself. You guys can stand over there because I get the final frame here. All right, listen, it's your Pratte Pack. I can't thank, just state your name there for us, young lady. Who are you?
Rhonda Radesky.
Rhonda, you did a great job and your arms are shaking, so that means this thing has got to come to an end. I just want you to know how much I absolutely love the fact that these incredible people gave me the opportunity after a long day to come down here and talk about this legendary family. You know how much I love the grocery industry. My friend Joe Dentisi, Coons Market, where we carry all these Isley's products. My dear friend Gordon Todd, his family in the grocery industry for many years. I just can't get enough about talking food and family and dinner time and gathering. It's the most precious thing that you have, your family. So whenever you get a chance to break a little bread and sit down and share memories and think about all the families, not just their family, but all the families, as I said earlier, that they have fed and given that substance to. So remember, dinner time is a special time, or as we say in this part of the country, supper time. Listen, ask questions, hug, and remember those memories, because just like those pictures, time stands still for no one. And to you, Chef Ray, your Pratte Pack is counting on you, and I know you're going to deliver this great food for future generations. But to the Bricker family, put the camera on them. Thank you very much. And until I'm back here again, enjoy all that great food. And this is a picture that will last forever. It's your Pratte Pack, back on the radio tomorrow morning after CBS Radio News at 5 a.m. KDKA 100.1 FM, AM 1020. Good night.